What is going on, Western New York and the rest of the world on YouTube? Thank you to anyone who's recently subscribed, checked out my content, liked it. It really does go a long way. So anyone who's out there just watching content, pages, it really does go a long way. Comments, all that stuff. And so you're not aware, like, unless you're already have a YouTube page, I don't really see who's liked the page, I guess is where I'm going with it. So only time I can hear from you guys is really comments, those type of things. So feel free, comment. Let me know what you guys like, don't like, want to see, want to talk about, what we're doing, those type of things. So anyways, before I jump into it, I want to keep going with the RC 101 mindset. I'll put the other video here where I talked about some of the early on stuff, people getting into the hobby like myself, really new to it relatively. And I want to talk about different price points on what you can get into, get your mindset to maybe get you over that hump if it's something you haven't fully got into the hobby grade RC stuff. So I got my three main RCs that I have here. And I'll start off with the lower price point, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I mean, prices obviously will vary, but all of these are a 1/10 scale. Keep that in mind if you're purchasing. Scale the size of the vehicle is going to really affect the price a little bit. This here is the red one is a TT-02 by the company called Tamiya, and this can be set up for rally races, street races, more of a speed vehicle. You can cut down these body posts here, those type of things. I have it set up with lights. That was an aftermarket modification, but I love lights, so I got those hooked in there. All right, you've seen this even in the previous one-on-one video, but I want to point out a few things that differ between these three vehicles that I have here. Obviously, size is one thing. Simplicity is another. I talked about this is really just a receiver, ESC, a steering servo, and a motor. But look here, this is not, the receiver's not in a receiver box, so it's not going to be completely waterproof, especially that receiver. That's usually the part that we got to keep away from water, and you'll see in some of the other versions of my RCs that you're going to want to have, if you're playing in water, you're going to want to have that in some sort of a receiver box there. Tires, pretty simple with these ones. We'll talk a little bit, I mean, if you're not aware, a lot of the RC foam tires are filled with a foam type composite inside of it. These ones not as much. I mean, I believe there's foam in it. These are unvented tires. We'll talk about that shortly here. So just want to get you a look at that, and then I'll quickly move on to the next one here, which is a Traxxas Slash. Moving a little bit up in the price range. A little bit bigger, as you can see. Let me move my phone here. Size comparison here. It's a little tough to tell, but let's see if I can get a sideways. But the Slash is definitely bigger. A little bit more speed. This is a two-wheel drive. Be mindful of that. Again, this light up front I added onto it, but you'll see the difference here. I could easily throw that body completely over that TT-02. The TT-02 is a four-wheel drive setup. This is two-wheel drive again. Now, my receiver box is in here. This is completely sealed. The wiring is only coming through over there. How the majority of the setups on that I see is two pieces of foam that you put some silicone gel in between, and then that'll watertight seal it. You crunch the bolts down. The wires are allowed to go in it. The steering servo's up here on this one, real quick, and then the motor is actually on the back on this one, really low in the back end. These can come in four-wheel drive. It's going to be a little bit more expensive when you go with the four-wheel drive model. Different ESCs and higher motor settings can get you a little bit faster. I know Traxxas sells like a Millennium setup, but things to think about here This is going to be really good off-roading, where the TT-02 can do some dirt and those type of things, but this thing can haul really good through grass, almost any type of situation. The tires have foams in them. They're vented, which means there's a hole in it, and if you squeeze it, that allows for ballooning of the tire and a motion of the tire to open up. If you're going really fast, you could look ballooning of RC tires. You'll be able to see that happen there. But be mindful that if you're ever going in water, those foams can deteriorate. You want to be mindful of it. If you're going in water, you want to maybe take some electrical tape, something like that, and seal off those holes. You'll lose that ballooning effect, really, but you want to be mindful of it. Just another thing to think about if you're getting into RC. These all have, the Slash has ball bearings as well, where the Tamiya TT-02 just comes with almost like plastic bushings. At least the version I have here just had plastic bushings. A lot of modifications you can do, buying the upgraded bearings and stuff to make it a little bit better. But that's where this can stay at a lower price point. Usually also the Tamiyas, at least you got to look at what you're looking at. So they're a build kit. The Tamiya TT-02, the red Mustang there, is a build kit where it's going to come and you're going to have to use the instructions and build the entire thing. So be mindful of that. Keeps the price down. You're typically not going to get a receiver, and you're going to need to buy a receiver and a radio for those. And also typically a steering servo is what you're going to need to purchase to make it even ready to completely run. So you might have a lower price point coming in, but if you don't have any of that stuff, you're going to have to take that into account when you're purchasing this. Also, just so you know, like, it's really tough if you're looking just like videos like this online to know exactly what maybe someone's running underneath the body. This is a Traxxas body for a different style body than the TT-02. This is not a Tamiya body that originally came with it. I bought this used. So I forget, Fortec I believe is the name of the Traxxas. So if you looked at just the top, you might think that I'm running Traxxas, but underneath it, it's actually a Tamiya TT-02. This is a box set, so everything here, the body and everything's stock, comes with it. Springs, those type of things. So I won't get too much into that. Lastly, where you can get into the crawler stuff, this is going to be on a higher point level of cost. Here's a good example too before I get into it. Original tire, vented. I did not be mindful of the foams inside, not knowing really, and was running this through a lot of water and completely just, the foams are no longer in there. I mean, it's got a lot of good grip and stuff, but you're almost running on a on an empty tire really. So these, I love crawling. I think it's the most versatile for me and the most fun, because you can go trailing, you can go rock crawling, you can add all sorts of accessories to all of this stuff. Again, this is going to be a more expensive starter vehicle, 4-wheel drive, covered waterproof receiving area. The motor's up front, so you're going to be pushing your weight towards the front of the vehicle. I believe it's aluminum shocks here with oil filled in it, so you can fill the oils and change how much pressure and how fast your shocks articulate. Wheels, these are upgraded wheels, so anyone's aware, this is considered a bead lock, which means I can take out these screws, remove this tire, put new foams in it, new tire on it, and just keep the actual wheels themselves. This is what comes stock with it. It is a super glued tire, or not super, but you know, tired, and you really can't really get those off. I know some people, you can look at videos if you wanted to try. I honestly attempted a little bit with these because of the foam issues, and it seemed really difficult to get that glue from coming off of it. The Slash and the Tamiyas all have glued wheels. So something to think about. If you hear the word bead lock on that, that's what that means. Gives you a little bit more options, different look on the tire as well. Steering servo on this is really mounted to the chassis right up front here. A really intricate piece of equipment, right? I mean, we've got drive shafts going for four-wheel drive underneath, portal axles, which if you're into ATVing, I believe they do portals for that, but not really actual vehicles. Raising that front axle up so that gives you more clearance. These will have differentials in here, so we got diffs. You gotta, I mean, you can have this thing be, now this is the sport version, locking, unlocking rear differentials, make it, you know, unlocked or locked diffs, dig, where you can almost like stop a wheel from happening, get tighter turns on it. Just a lot more, and that's why you're coming in at a higher price point for something like a rock crawler versus some of the other stuff. So all that being said is just think about, especially if you're like, holidays are coming up, whatever, you know, you're really looking to just get into the hobby or buy something for someone, trying to figure out really what you're into and what price range you want to come into and what's gonna give you the most satisfaction and fun. And I would start there and just have fun with that and see where you're at with it, because like you can see here, it can be pretty daunting after you get into it. I like it. There's a lot of nuances to it, but this one here too, now I'm thinking about it too. This could be for like oval track setups. I know they will call it, you know, a lot of these could be just stock two-wheel drive slash. Division that they would run for an oval track dirt or indoor course. This would be its own class. We're doing rally runs. A lot of it is a setup like this, either on dirt or on the road, and then rock crawling comps, G6s where it's trail events and all that fun stuff. So to me, this is a perfect kind of trio of RCs to be into. I've got it where all my RCs are kind of on their own receiver or remote, but you can have one remote if you wanted to buy a more expensive remote and just have your RCs all run off of one remote. Options are definitely there for that. So I'll end it here. Just want to throw a video out here while the weather's kind of turning. Hopefully that helps you out. Just go the next step a little bit further from the previous video. So any questions, comments, please let me know. And I'd love to talk about it. And if I'm not, hopefully see you out on the trails, competitions, wherever it is, especially if you're local. If not, I'll look for your content on YouTube. I love watching it. So, all right, man. Till the next one, I'll talk to you.